I just learned Erica Gardner is. I learned this by researching Ballotpedia and then going on other sites. She's thinking of
It
running for Congress in the 12th district in New York. That
That'd be interesting.
that makes me happy.
I'm gonna get, you know, I'm feeling some kind of way about people running for office. I'm gonna be honest with you. I know that's kind of like a logical extension of activism in a certain way, and I believe that if Erica ran, she's gonna bring that spirit of activism. But I don't know. I just feel like and this is coming from a person who used to want to run for office, and then I got inside of the Florida Democratic Party just enough to realize I don't want anything to do with this.
When you got PTSD, you were in the literal dumpster fire of the Democratic Party.
Yeah, I was in it just enough to say, man, y'all go to hell. I don't want anything to do with this. But I'm very leery, and I want to invite DeRay on the show. I've been avoiding it, but I want to invite him on the show so I can just ask some really difficult questions about the inherent tension between his activism and political power. And it's not even a question about his donors like a lot of people are asking. I just feel like there's inherent tension between political activism and political power, and I just don't think it's actually.
Yeah, I've been watching him struggle with it on Twitter, and I laugh every time he says, "Wow, this I understand the need to get money out of politics now than I ever have." Like the way he talks about the struggle it's been for him fundraising, it's just like, wow, he really gets it now. He really gets how broken the system is.
I don't know. So maybe he's the perfect person to come on and talk about it, because I don't know. It's just the jury has still been out. People ask me about that race all the time, particularly about DeRay, not the race, but about DeRay, and I'm like, I just don't know like how it can coexist. You sacrifice stuff to be in political power, and the question is, are you strong enough to change the political system? That's that conversation
That's
we were
the thing
having.
I always said to you before. It's like DeRay
Well,
he has his education plan, he has all these different things, but at the end of his term, if he
yeah, his
left, there's
education
no
plan
way he
worries
can
me.
say, because of his administration, oh, I brought all these jobs back, I brought the manufacturing industry back to Baltimore, because that wasn't done by a Baltimore mayor, that was done by national trade policies
Yeah,
that caused its textile industry to be somewhere in Jakarta or Indonesia or someplace.
yeah.
So there's so much that you can put faith in the candidate, even if they are a protester or an activist and want to do good.
My concern, though, too, about this reliance on protester activists turned politicians. Not everybody is quote unquote progressive the way in terms of their full political platform. Because I actually have issues with his education. I think we were talking about it in the chat the other day. Yeah, Nick, I actually have serious issues with what he's proposed in terms of education. But because I'm a strong proponent of public schools, charter
Yeah.
schools are cool and everything, but I do have serious concerns because, there's a lot of ambiguity in there in some of the language, and it's disconcerting. Just another plug, Chicago Teachers Union is having a one-day walkout tomorrow. Solidarity actions and stuff going on in Chicago. Fight 15, Asada's Daughters, BYP 100. It's activism in action. But there is a concern.
No, for real. You be on it, like, for real. I like that. Go
I
ahead.
have I have no vested interest. I don't actually even know anyone like actually doing some of this stuff. Like, I know Kyle, who does some stuff or whatever from Chicago, but I don't really know people involved in these things. I just know there's great stuff happening and people need to know about it. But my concern is not everybody who's supposedly a progressive activist or they can rally around this one issue. When they get into politics, like look at Bobby Rush, right? Bobby Rush was a former Black Panther,
Yeah.
and now he's like,
Look at
he's
John
hunkered down with
Lewis.
the establishment. John Lewis. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a great example, right? Like so we have these people, who have their revolutionary politics on the outside, but then it seems like the agenda changes. So I think that's a great question to pose, as DeRay is coming up as this new generation of activists, so to speak. How do you manage that balance? I know Stacey kind of got on him on Twitter the other day because she was like, are you going to govern Baltimore by asking Twitter, poll questions or whatever? And I was just like, Stacey, that's not nice. but I agree with her, though.
I don't know. I mean, he can see that, and that's the question. Can he still be the same? Can he still be the same? What made DeRay in this moment? Like, I'm sure there's a lot more that made DeRay before this, but in this moment was his Twitter activism and his real life activism. And so, for him to I don't know if that was anyway. I don't know if I necessarily agree with Stacey on that one, but that's neither here nor there. What you're saying is so true.
Well, it was because she got on him because he was questioning, as we've had experience with him questioning hashtags before. He was questioning the Bernie made me white hashtag.
I watched the whole little. Yeah, it was a
so
brief. She
it
was
was a brief exchange. He was like, Stacey, you're better than this. And I was like, yeah.
Who are you? Like, okay. So, but
it is an interesting question, and it definitely, if he would come on, that would definitely be a great conversation to hear because we do have, we have Corey from Ferguson, right, who's running for Senate. We do have activists turn, aspire, because I think people are seeing like that as a way, because we have people who aren't making the change that we want them to make. So I guess people are feeling like I need to make it for myself. But that is why grassroots supporters, we really need to stay true and help further develop and grow our ranks to support them so that they can stay true to their ideals. Because there's this notion, sometimes you have to sell out to be able to get this. There's a trade-off with the system, but it shouldn't have to be that way.
But unfortunately, it is, and the only thing I can think back to is Alex Law's campaign. Like, if he's got an uphill battle, but he's got some advantages that I haven't seen in any other case, in any other campaign. The fact that he's able to leverage the small amount of money he's leveraging to compete against like hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, and actually competing and polling against them. I don't know if we're gonna. I don't know if the solution is to wait until we can get money out of politics. I think we're gonna have to just bring I don't want to call it grassroots, but it is grassroots, an alternate way of doing it, because right now there's probably a lot of pressure on somebody like DeRay to be quiet on certain issues. Not out of just, it may not be somebody straight out saying, DeRay, you need to be quiet, either take this money or be quiet. I don't think it's anything clear like that.
Right.
I think it's very subtle, like, DeRay, we need you to focus on this, and the focus on that is pulling him away from what he's been so important in. So I don't know. Those are questions I want to ask. I mean, I really didn't want to go to. I've been really quiet on it because I wanted to ask him straight out. But what you were saying, Solomon, kind of led directly to this. So it's an open invitation, DeRay, and actually I'll hit you up and see if we can get you on the show so that you could talk about some of those pressures, because nobody else. Let me tell you something. Nobody else is going to ask you those questions because most people just are going to have the other interviews look like. But anyway, folks, Nick, you've been sitting mighty quiet on this conversation.
It's because I'm polite.
Should I not ask you yet? Wait until after DeRay comes on?
Well, I mean, what I would say is I could probably ask him 10 questions and I can properly identify what more or less he'll amount to. Not saying he can't change or anything like that. I'm just saying I can pretty much pinpoint where he is more or less, and what's the most likely outcome based off of 10 or so questions. So
yeah, I mean, I think and that's why the jury has just been out from the beginning. It's because once you make that commitment to run for office, it's like it really, I don't know,
I think it depends on what type of person you are. Like, are you the type are you an ENTJ? Basically, are you the leadership executive type where you can stand alone and be the only one going in a certain direction, and let's say the current is flowing the other way, you'll be that one rock that just points in the opposite direction, just is out there by itself. If you're that type of person, then you can transform the office. You can transform your environment.
Maybe that is one thing, because I tweeted at him and he retweeted my tweet where I said his fundraising should be seen as a local achievement just as impressive as Bernie's fundraising nationally, and he retweeted that, and I got like 60 or something retweets. But what I should have added later is that the difference is he's not talking for a local level political revolution in Baltimore's political establishment the way Bernie is. Where Bernie is saying electing me is useless if it's just me alone in the same broken political system in D.C. I can try and change little bits, whatever I can get my hand on, but it's just me. I can't really do that much from the White House and changing the political system if you're leaving me alone up here.
And the White House is immensely powerful. It is far more powerful than a mayorship.
Yeah, if DeRay's alone in the mayor's mansion, but the same Baltimore political establishment exists around him, there's very little he could really change.
But he's not alone. He has the Twitter exec. He has Netflix people behind him. He's had a Citibank exec fundraising for him. He's not alone.
I
And
sense.
that's the problem.
So I'm sorry, like with the whole like he's like, because even that happened in our chat too. Like, well, he's fundraising, he's doing things like Bernie. Okay, yeah, they're all doing things similarly, but at the same time, there are these other things that are going on, and I do think that I'm interested in hearing if a conversation with him and Ben were to happen. I'm interested in just hearing, how that unfolds.
Well, it's not going to happen if you bring those up.
I didn't say Ben needs to bring that up. That's just me. I'm not even.
I think you should bring it up.
I could not. I mean, honestly,
I don't even want to be on.
Yeah, this is why I want to avoid. Like, I have a confession to make, and I think everybody understands this at this point. It's like, it's just, I don't know, like, it's easier. And no, I'm not even gonna say that. Never mind. Stop that whole conversation. I'm taking that. I'm reeling that one back in. That's
Come
just.
on.
You should have went on ahead and let it fly. Well, anyway, I'll throw what I think he was gonna say.
What you think I was gonna say?
When you have businesses lining up behind a candidate, it's already something that you should be wary of. It always adds a little bit of extra skepticism for me.
No, that's not what I mean. That's true, but that's not what I was going to say. What do you think I was going to say? No. Oh, you just don't think that was it?
Well, no, I don't think that was it. I was going to say it's easy to criticize him, but I don't know if that's where you were going either.
And that's the thing. It's like it's okay. Being true to my politics, I could probably pick apart like 12 things right now. Not 12. I'm exaggerating. 5 solid things to be wary about DeRay's campaign. In fairness to my politics, but in fairness to a brother that I don't want to say so much that I respect the brother, and I think you have to measure. This is why I almost wish he didn't get in politics, because of course it's not fucking about me, right? It's just about him doing what he needs to do for himself. But for me, it's like now I have to view him through another lens, and I have to apply the critical analysis that I would apply to a Republican. I have to apply it to him, and it happens instantly. So as soon as he said he was going to run, I was instantly disappointed, because I'm like, damn, now I can't view him through the lens of an activist. I have to view him through the lens of a politician, and that's just a different conversation that I'd really would rather not have had to engage with somebody like DeRay. Not that he's like this holy grail or anything, but he helped me out. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like when a good friend of mine was killed, he helped me out. He and Sean King helped me out and helped get something out on a national level that nobody else did. And just having the ability to affect a conversation that was so important to me, actually, it's a personal thing, and I don't want to have to. I don't want to ask those questions.
I think that's why I think that he should be. We shouldn't make the comparison. We shouldn't make the comparison of him to anybody else, right? We should look at his campaign as his campaign and what he's doing. I mean, it's easy to draw that comparison because he's raising from small donors, but he's not entirely raising from small donors. Is the only distinction I keep making to people. People keep saying that, but that's not entirely the whole story. That doesn't mean that he's bad or he's a part of the establishment or anything else like that. He has a very well-developed platform. I don't necessarily agree with all of it, but I do think that it's. I do think that there is value in engaging him.
Jump off point for so many people, and it's a jump off point for me too, because I've seen what charter schools do to public schools. They
can be good though if they're leveraged properly.
They can,
but can is the operative word. Are they generally? Yeah, but that's not even.
That's just one. That's just one of the many things. In my opinion,
free trade can be good, but every last one we've ever done has not been good.
Did you feel that way about Corey in Missouri?
About who?
Did you feel the same disappointment with Corey in Missouri when she decided to run for Senate?
Cory Booker?
No.
Bush.
Cory Bush. No, because I don't know, it's easier when I know somebody. It's a little bit more difficult to ask the difficult questions. Let's just be real. It's a little more difficult. And then when there is another category of people that I just I don't know. I just get tired of. I'm tired of fighting I'm tired of fighting us, man. I'm tired of this period, and I'm trying not to get super fatigued where I just throw in the towel and be like, fuck it all. Let's just get the primaries over. We're having a fundamental conversation right now that is so important, that is worth us having this fight. But the fight has manifested itself in terms of people like me having to call out black people all the damn time, and people that I'm fond of on any other given day. I'm fond of because we have solidarity in so many things. And so, like, it's that tired. I'm just fatigued with it. And there are some things that, legit questions to be asked about anybody's campaign running for office, right? You can't run for office. There's some legit questions that we need to ask Bernie damn Sanders, and we have.
There are. Like,
some of them.
why the hell do you have no people of color on your core senior team?